I'm gonna go get the book. It's Sunday night. It's a tough day, but not in the way that I really would have expected, I guess. It's just a hard. Weekends are hard. Weekends are hard because it's a lot of unstructured time. And without, somebody there, living alone on the weekend, it's like I don't really talk to anybody. Unless I go to something, I don't really talk to anybody. So yesterday, I was gonna go to a comedy show, either an improv show at the place where I'm a student, or actually I was gonna go to the one that the person in my class was doing, but then I decided not to. And then later at night, I kind of discovered when I just felt really, really sad and alone at night, I was thinking about it, and it was like I hadn't actually spoken to anyone all day, except I did go out to dinner last night and I spoke to the person that took my order. And then today, it was kind of the same thing. I did call my mom, so that was something. But it's not the same as, talking to someone in person. And I did like somebody asked me if I had any spare change, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't have any cash. And that was like, somebody opened the door for me, and I said, thank you. And that was it. That's all of my interaction with other people today. And I am an extrovert. I recently took that, Myers-Briggs. Got 100% extrovert. So, not really talking to anybody for a long time, for 2 whole days. It just leaves me very down. So I think that's something I need to work on, is just making sure that I interact with somebody in a more than, an order or saying thank you or whatever. So at the theater where I do improv classes, on Saturdays they have a show. I get into all the shows for free because I'm a student, which is great, even though they're $10, so it's not a big deal. And then also after the show, they have the improv jam, which is where anybody that just wants to go and do some improv can just go up on stage and do stuff, and that seems like an easy way for me to make sure that I get to interact with somebody on the weekend, going to those. So I'm probably going to go to those maybe most Saturdays, unless there's something else going on. Again, yesterday I had planned to go to that, and then I was like, no, I'm going to go to this improv show that this person I know is going to be in. And then when it kind of came time to do that, I just wanted to run. Not really run, but I wanted to hide. I wanted to go away and not deal with people and everything. And I was scared, maybe. In any case, it was the wrong choice, I think. I think I need to make sure that I interact with people every day in some capacity. Today I looked into D&D groups. I used to play with some friends. I think it was some kind of informal version of Pathfinder. I don't know what any of these, what that means, and I don't know what D&D means really. But I used to play, and I really liked the very creative aspects of it. So So I looked into, D&D groups, and I might try doing that in the future. Although I really have a lot of projects going on, so like, something's gonna slip. I keep piling on more things. You know what happened today? Way back when Gabby and I, living together, our trash day, the day that the trash truck came and picked up, we switched trash companies at like the beginning of the year. And so it changed from Tuesdays to Mondays. And so Gabby made a Google Calendar thing that happens on Monday mornings just to remind us to take the trash out. And she deleted it today. And that's a lot sadder than it should be, I think. It was just something on our shared calendar that we don't have anymore. It feels so silly to be this sad about that. It feels so silly. Also, at the gym, I cried at the gym earlier. No, I was lifting weights, and lately, this might seem like a weird choice, but bear with me on the explanation here. I've been listening to Sam Smith while I lift weights, and that's, it's very slow, sad music, but I think he has just an amazing voice, an amazing vocal presence, and so I'm listening to him because it's the only time that I really just listen to music. So I've been listening to him and really focusing on how he chooses to approach notes and stuff so that I can hopefully learn to have some of that same kind of vocal presence and intimacy in my own singing. But in any case, there was a different song. Of course, all of his songs are sad, and Somebody to Die For. A long time ago, Gabby asked me about a song where somebody sings about pink lemonade, and I was like, I don't know, I'm sorry. Long time ago. And then the weekend that we had our big fight, the last time that I ever saw her, that weekend, while she wasn't at home, and she wouldn't tell me where she was, she sent me a message, and she said, she just sent me the name of that song. And then she said, that's the song about pink lemonade, where he says pink lemonade. And so, like, that day, that Sunday, when I was waiting, Gabby asked me if I would come pick her up, so I was waiting to come pick her up when she told me she was ready, and I listened to that song on repeat for, I don't know, 5 hours or 8 hours, or not sure how long I was waiting, but I played that song from the morning until I went and picked her up at like 3 p.m. or later. I just listened to that song on repeat. Right, I was talking about the gym. So I was listening to Sam Smith, and I do it on Amazon Music, but I don't have the pay version, so it kind of plays whatever songs, and it played this Shawn Mendes song. and I don't really care for Shawn Mendes, but I was just listening to whatever came on, and it was about making it easy if the other person needed to leave. And it was about loving them either way. It was about loving somebody even if they chose to leave. And yeah, I cried there at the gym. I kind of felt silly crying while lifting. And I'm just glad I didn't really lose it because it was close. Okay. Read another chapter in the book because I felt like I was ready to move on from the guilt and rejection chapter. And the next one was about grief. And what I am displaying right now is grief. And what I was feeling at the gym is grief. So, grief, as there's a poem. Most of these chapters have a poem at the beginning, and this one kind of talk about how hard the weekends are, so I'm going to read it. It says, "Weekends are all the lonely hours poured into remembering, all the lonely thoughts poured into trying to forget. The harder we try to forget, the easier it is to remember. The past can't die and the future can't live, but the present exists. If silence is deafening, then what is quiet? Quiet is weekends, and weekends are hell. Wake up and face reality. Why? Weekends enforce reality. Weekdays subdue it. Saturday. It's a world of 2 plus 2, where 1 has no meaning and no value. Sunday, the body rests, but where's the off button for the mind? Weekends are hard. On the weekdays, I go to work and I'm around people, and then I go to the gym, and then I come home, and on Mondays and Tuesdays I've got other things going on in the evenings even. But then the rest of the week, by the time I get home, it's mostly make dinner, do a couple of things, watch Fargo, and text with my sister and my mom, and then go to bed. But weekends, it's just tons of emptiness. On weekends, I can really feel how big the universe is. Alright, so there's an interesting story here. It's kind of a weird story about grief, but it says that the grief is sort of shaped like a check mark, where you have to go down first before you can climb back up. And I think that's pretty good. I think it's helpful. My counselor, Sarah, she says that, I do have to process grief, and that's part of what this is. These videos, they help me really think about it. Process what I'm feeling, and make sure that I'm not, eliminating it. There's a paragraph in here that says that people who are grieving sigh a lot, which I think is interesting. I haven't really noticed if I sigh a lot or not. Or maybe I do. There's a part in here that talks about suicidal feelings being common during grief, and here's a sentence. Research indicates a much higher than normal rate of actual suicides occurs among persons engaged in the divorce process. I believe that. It's very difficult. It is absolutely life-rending. And that's another part of why these videos are important. As I've talked about before, I've had suicidal feelings since I was 12, 23 years ago. For the past 23 years, it's like, I don't think there can't have been more than a handful of days in which I have not thought about suicide. And I don't know why, but that's, the reality that I've been living in for a very long time. So part of it is these videos is that I am committed. I am committed to coming here every day for 365 days until, it's going to be slightly more than that actually, but until July 1st, 2027, I am going to come here and I'm going to make a video every day. And that is no matter what happens. I am committed to that every single day until July 1st, 2027, no matter what. So that means I am committed to not killing myself at least until then. And it's hard words to say out loud, but it's very helpful for me. Because since I know that I've already committed to not doing it, it keeps me from, going over it and thinking about it. It keeps me from having to deal with it. I don't have to deal with my suicidal thoughts right now because I'm committed to doing this until July 1st, 2027. Now on July 2nd, 2027, I'll have to figure something else out. But until July 1st, I'm good. Then later on in the chapter, it talks about the stages of grief, right? And these are pretty common. I've talked about these with Sarah, the counselor, as well. Stage 1 is denial. I'm not sure how much I went through denial, and I'm really worried that I'm still in it somehow. I'm really worried that I'm not experiencing my full feelings because I'm in denial. And I know I'm experiencing a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. So if this is only part because I'm in denial, then man, that's gonna hit me hard when the real ones start. And I'm very much afraid of that. Number 2 is anger. Now, I know that I went through an angry period. It was like the middle of April, and there was a week when I was angry. If I wasn't at work, it meant I was angry, and I was mad at Gabby. I was mad at a lot of things. I was mad at the system. I was mad at the lawyers. I was mad at the DA, and I was mad at Gabby, and I was mad at the judge. I was just mad about all of it. And that lasted about a week. And it was a week. Yeah, it's about a week when I was just mad all the time. But that's gone, and I'm not, I still get angry when I think about some things. I've done it in some of these videos, but so it's not that anger's all the way gone. But it's not the dominant feeling anymore, definitely. I am angry about going through this, but mostly I want Gabby to be happy, regardless of that what that means for me. I couldn't say it. I couldn't get through it. Okay, I'm gonna try again. Mostly, I want Gabby to be happy, regardless of what that means for me. I'm not angry anymore. Stage 3 is bargaining, and Sarah has told me a couple of times that I'm in the bargaining stage, or I was. There was a while when I was writing a lot of letters to Gabby, over and over and over, and I was telling her about all the stuff that I'm doing to become a better person, the person that I think she wants me to be. And it's also the person that I want to be. So I'm not just doing all this stuff for her, I'm doing all of it for me. I'm doing all of it because it's important to me, and it happens to align with things that she said she wanted. So I was writing a lot of letters, and I was working with AI as well. I would write a letter. I wasn't having AI write the letter. I would write the letter and I would send it to Claude or Gemini or whatever, and I would ask it to go through the letter and tell me what Gabby might feel, or what Gabby's friend might feel if they read it, or anybody that Gabby might share it with. What would this person think and feel when reading it? Because that letter was what I had for a while, and of course I never sent the letter. But it was a very good letter by the end, because I was writing 2 or 3 versions, revising it 2 or 3 versions a day for weeks. I went through, I don't know, 50 to 100 versions of that letter. It's a damn good letter. I never sent it. I'm never going to send it, I don't think. But yeah, that was what my bargaining phase looked like, I guess. Stage 4, it says, is the darkness before the dawn. This is where I think I am right now. It says depression is typical, but it's different from other kinds of depression. This is a blot. There's much internal dialogue about the meaning of life. And I've had, I've been in an existential crisis for a couple of years now, where, what on earth is the point of all of this stuff that I'm doing? Yeah, it's big. It's been going on for a long time. So I'm still going through that, and when I was going through it before, one of the things that I could come back to, I'd be like, what is the point of doing this? What is the point of being alive, really? And I would say, well, regardless of the point, I get to go home to Gabby, and I don't need more meaning than that. That's what I used to say. So now I gotta figure something else out. I'll tell you what, for the next year, the meaning of life is showing up here and shooting these videos, putting them up, and even if nobody ever watches them, they're there. That's it. That's the point. All right. Then it says that stage 5 is acceptance, and that's when you get to feel free from the emotional pain of grief, and you no longer invest emotionally in the past relationship. Now, Sarah tells me that the stages of grief are not distinct, that you kind of go through multiple stages at the same time, and you go forward and you go backward and everything, and it's not like just a set of steps. It's more like a bundle. And I think that's pretty true, but I think I think that I am mostly past bargaining and anger, and I think I'm past denial. Like I said before, I'm afraid that I am still in denial and that there's a lot worse to come. But, and as you know, I do still get angry sometimes, but I think I'm past the anger part, and I think I'm past the bargaining part, because it's like, there's not much more that I want to do to try to save the relationship. If Gabby was to change her mind and say, you know, we should legally separate instead of getting divorced, and we should spend some time apart, and we should maybe work on our relationship sometime, I would say, yes, I want that. But I'm not gonna keep putting things forward. So I think that counts as being past bargaining. I don't know though. In this chapter, there's an exercise that Dr. Fisher recommends, and it's writing a goodbye letter. And he says that you should start by writing, like, because there's so many things that you lose, right? In a divorce or in the end of a love relationship. Like, I lost my partner, of course. I lost having someone else in the house. I lost the house that I was living in. I lost the train ride that I used to take to get to and from work. I lost the couch, you know, that we used to sit on and watch TV together on. I lost the bed that we slept together in. I lost the Dutch oven. Man, I like that Dutch oven. I lost the Dutch oven that I used to cook in. So there's a ton of loss there that does range into the kind of superficial, such as the Dutch oven. I love that Dutch oven. I was very ecstatic to buy it. I come up with, like, literally anything I can think of, any reason to use it I can think of. And I've lost it now. At least 4 now. We'll see if I end up getting to keep it at some point. I don't know. But for now, I've lost it. So he says, write a goodbye letter to something superficial first, and slowly work your way up to writing goodbye letters to more and more meaningful things until you finally write a goodbye letter to your major loss. And once you've gotten through all the goodbye letters, you probably will have worked through all of your grief and come out on the other side of the check mark. And there is an example of a goodbye letter. And the example is, all right, I didn't cry as much as I thought I would. But I noticed, because one of the things, that you lose is all of the future that you had expected to have. And when I try to think about that, a lot of the future that I was really looking forward to, that I am now grieving, is about seeing Gabby kind of achieve her goals and her dreams. She is going, hopefully she will still, get to achieve this stuff. But she's working on a doctorate, writing her dissertation, and one day she's going to finish that dissertation, and she's going to graduate, and she's going to walk across the stage and get her doctorate. And one of the saddest things about the future is that I'm not going to be there with her for that. And she also had a dream to open up a learning center. A learning center that's like focused on adults going back to college. And she was going to open this learning center. And I hope that she will one day. And I hope that it will be a massive success. And if there's anything I can do to help with that, I am absolutely willing to do that at any point in the future. But one of the saddest things about the future is that I'm not going to be there with her for that. Yeah, I'm sad I'm going to miss those things. All right, this is getting pretty long. Let's go through the questions at the end of the chapter. Number 1, I have given myself permission to grieve if I need to. Absolutely. John, you have permission to grieve. Okay. Number 2, I am not burying the grief sadness, but I'm trying to express it. Absolutely. I have no qualms about crying, even in public. So, if the grief hits, I'll express it, yeah. I now have physical and emotional energy from morning until night. That's kind of complicated. I don't know how much of that is from not sleeping as well as I should, or as much as I should. How much of that is from all the time that I spend at the, all the physical stuff that I do at like the gym, etc. I don't know. Number 4, I've stopped feeling depressed most of the time. I think that's true. Most of the time, yeah. Some of the time, I do feel depressed, but even on the weekends, which I've said weekends are hard, this last weekend, it was only a few hours out of the, however many. So I would say maybe 10% of the time, definitely not more than 20% of the time. Number 5, I have no trouble concentrating. For the most part, that's true. Number 6, I no longer feel like crying most of the time. Also true. I cried in this video. I cried at the gym earlier. I didn't cry when I got that email about trash day. I only cried when I talked about it in this video. So most of the time I don't cry that much. I have overcome the feeling that I am in a daze. Yeah, I've definitely felt that over the last few months, but I don't think I feel it anymore. My emotions and mood are back in my control. Yeah, for the most part, I think that's true. Number 9 here. I have no trouble going to sleep and sleeping all night. I've never been a great sleeper. It takes me a long time to fall asleep. And even if I wake up in the middle of the night, it takes me a long time to fall back asleep. I rarely sigh now. I haven't noticed. Maybe I do. 11. I notice my body weight has stabilized. Throughout the chapter, he talks about how part of grief, a lot of people lose a lot of weight, or some people gain weight. I have lost a lot of weight, but I've also been working very hard to lose that weight. I've been taking a lot of care about what I eat and going to the gym quite a bit. So I don't know what to do about number 11. Number 12, my appetite is good. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not uncontrollable, which is nice because in the past it has been, and it's not non-existent, which is also good. Number 13, I no longer feel mechanical in my daily living habits. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. I don't really know what that means. Sorry, I'm tired. It's pretty late. Okay. I have outgrown the feeling that I am losing my mind. I never really felt that, so I think it's a yes on that one. I have stopped talking continuously about my crisis. I don't think I ever talked continuously about it. Maybe with my sisters a little bit at first, but for the most part, I bring it up if people ask, or if there's, a reason to, if there's some reason for me to say that I'm going through a divorce, then I will say it, but I'm not bringing it up. Does that make sense? Which I think is okay. I'm not going on and on about it. When I have talked about it, it's mostly been something like a lot of it is talking about my new apartment, and they're like, oh, why did you move? And I'm like, well, I'm going through a divorce. And they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And then we'll, move on with the conversation. So it's not like I'm going on and on and on about my divorce here. Well, I am to you, but this is different. Okay. Number 16, I have no thoughts of attempting suicide. Yes, I do. Every day. For 23 years. I have no more lump in my throat. I do right now. For the most part, I don't. But a lump in the throat is something that happens to me when I'm right on the edge of crying. My stomach feels relaxed and at ease. Oh, man. My stomach feels relaxed and at ease. Yes, I think so. I am beginning to be emotionally close to people again. Not really, but I don't really have people to be emotionally close to. I mean, I've got, there are people that I know. And I think I am developing friendships with them. And that's nice. So I look forward to doing more of that. But nobody that I know well enough to be really emotionally close to, other than my mom and my sisters, and they don't even live in the same state. Okay. I feel emotionally alive rather than emotionally dead. I'm not sure what to do with that one. My emotions are going, and I don't think I feel dead. But I don't know what it means to feel emotionally alive. 21, I understand the grief process. I think so. I've talked about it with my counselor. Read about it in this chapter. Read about it a bunch of times on the internet. I feel like I understand it. I have identified which of the 5 stages of grief I am in. We talked about this earlier. I believe I am in the depression stage. 23. I have identified any past grief that I have not experienced and worked through. I've worked through some serious grief in my time. As I've told you before, I've been in counseling a lot. So I've worked through a ton of stuff. I don't know of any past grief that I have not experienced and worked through. But I do believe that Gabby has some, which we'll talk about in a minute. This is going to be a long video. Let's press on here. I have identified what I need to grieve. And what I need to grieve, I believe, is the person and the future, but mostly the person more than the relationship. Because that's really what I feel like I've lost. And I think that's visible with what I talked about in the future. That what I really feel like I'm gonna miss in the future is being there with Gabby when she gets her doctorate, or being there when she opens her learning center. And that's what I miss. I don't really even miss like living with somebody. I miss talking to Gabby. It was a day a few weeks ago at work. At work, when I really wanted a Coke. And my God, I wanted to text Gabby and tell her that I just wanted to text her and say, wow, I really want a Coke. I just wanted to text her. And and I went to the bathroom and I cried. I feel like I'm crying about such stupid stuff tonight. I went to the bathroom and I cried because of how much I just wanted to say this stupid, meaningless thing to her. I miss Gabby very much. Alright. Number 25. I am comfortable talking about my feelings of grief with a friend. I don't really have any friends, so I'm talking to you. And clearly I'm comfortable doing it. Number 26. I have written a letter of goodbye to the loss I am experiencing now. I have not. It sounded too heavy for this evening, but over the next week I'll write a letter, or maybe more than one, because I think I am going to need to start with a superficial loss. Maybe I'll start by saying goodbye to the Dutch oven. Then I'll work my way up. There is more to the me and Gabby story, and someday we will continue on with that. But this one is already long enough, and it's really late, and I have to go to work in the morning, so I'm going to sign off now. But I'll see you tomorrow, and every day until July 1st, 2027.